We look to find multi-year structural growth companies. When investing in emerging markets, understanding the long-term macro trends and thematic growth are critical so that we could identify and invest in those winners. Our belief is that you should focus on big countries and structural themes and understand the changes as emerging markets have evolved over the years. It is now more about finding the structural growth companies that could compound through the market cycles. In addition, we have since the fund's inception focused on those environmental, social, and governance factors, now well known as ESG, which has been an integrated part of the EML investment process.
Macro is important in understanding where the risks are. We focus on investing in countries where the macroeconomic environment is benign, and we look for industries where growth is not overly reliant on the country's economic growth. We focus on large countries like China, India, Brazil, and Indonesia, which are driven by big domestic economies, and we sidestep smaller markets and which are generally less liquid and more volatile. We invest in multi-year compounders while minimizing the big drawdowns that you frequently see in emerging markets. We see the greatest potential in continental-sized markets. In most of the smaller emerging markets, we don't believe there are enough investments given the risk to those countries and to a certain extent to the companies. For example, in countries such as Mexico, we find only a dozen or so investable companies that meet quality growth characteristics. But the growth of the companies in the country has slowed down substantially over the last 5-6 years. Looking at the chart of the companies that have compounded more than 15% in US dollar terms over the past 5 years with at least US $1 billion of market cap at the start of the study, we can see that it's dominated by the companies from the Greater China region, India, and Brazil. And rightly so, given the large number of companies and the opportunities available in those countries. We have also undertaken similar analysis for periods over 10 to 15 years, and the results that we see in terms of the markets that are represented are very similar.
People want to time markets. This is a difficult exercise in our opinion. If you remain invested through the market volatility inherent in emerging markets over the past 30 years, the rewards have been substantial. As the next slide shows, an investment of $10,000 in January 1988 would have grown close to $260,000 by December of 2019. Now, by missing just the 10 best months over that 32-year period, you would have received 75% less money, or merely $63,000. Now, that's a substantial difference. The emerging market leader's risk-return profile seeks to offer most of the upside while minimizing the downside capture. We believe this allows investors to remain invested through the cycle, capturing most of the gains.
投资一定有风险，基金投资有赚有赔，申购前应详阅公开说明书与投资人须知。